Good day, grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's economics lesson. My name is Mr. Berry. This lesson is brought to you by the Northern Cape Department of Education in collaboration with Pagama Research and Development. Good day again, grade 12. Today, our knowledge area will be based on microeconomics and the economic issues. These are the two chapters that you find in your paper 2. So we'll be revising for your paper 2 November examination. By the end of the lesson, the learner should be able to answer November question paper when it comes to paper 2. You should be confident enough to answer the question that you find on microeconomics and economic issues. Right, so our assessment plan for paper 2, 2024, it looks like this. You have your microeconomics where there is perfect market, imperfect market, and then the market failure. Then you have your economic issues, contemporary economic issues, where you find inflation, tourism, and environmental sustainability. So altogether, there is 6 subtopics from these 2 main topics. All your papers, both paper 1 and paper 2, they consist of 150 mark for 2 hours. You have 6 questions. From those 6 questions, you must only answer 4, meaning you have 1 from section A, 2 from section B, and then 1 from section C. Your most important date for this year examination is the 12th November 2024, which is your paper 1. Then your paper 2 will be written on the 19th of November 2024. Our plan is to answer section A because it is compulsory. It includes both microeconomics and your economic issues. So for you to master this one, you must use your study guides, looking at terminology, also using previous question papers to look at your question 1, multiple choice, matching columns, and the terminology to revise for this paper 2. And also on section B, we look at answering question 3 and 4. Remember, however, your guidance will be which chapter are you mastering better. If microeconomics is what you're mastering better, it means that you go with question 2. Then if the economic issues, your tourism, inflation, and environment are the topics that you master, then your question will be 3. So you can actually plan before the examination. Also, if you have mastered everything, all the 14 chapters, meaning from circular flow to the environmental sustainability, it means that when you get to the exam, then your reading time, you use it wisely to choose which question you're going to answer. For your section B, you start with 8-mark questions to see if you can master both 8-mark questions. If you structure your answers from the question that you are given, are you able to get 8 marks from each 8-mark question that you have? Then you go up to your data respond, you see how many answers you can actually score, then you'll be able to choose a question. However, when it comes to question 6, that one you can come already knowing the essays that we have in economic issues. We're having 6 essays. We are prioritizing them to what is the most possible to the least possible. However, all of them are possible for your November examination. Right, just to remind you again, you may write this down. The essays that we have, I'm going to start with what is we say will be most possible to the least possible. You have discussed in detail ways, measures to combat inflation. Those measures, you are discussing monetary policy, fiscal policy, and other measures. That is essay 1. Let's come to essay 2. Essay 2, you are discussing in details international problems and measures for sustainable development. We are talking about your chemical waste, your climate change hazard waste, that essay where you are having problems, loss of biodiversity and loss of indigenous knowledge. There are 5 problems that have their own protocol or international measures. That is essay number 2. We go to essay number 3. We say discuss in details the benefits of tourism. We have 4 things there. There is household, there is state and businesses, and infrastructural development. There you are discussing how tourism is benefiting us as household, businesses, the government, and the infrastructure of the country. Then essay number 4 will put discuss in detail government intervention as to ensure sustainable development. There we're talking of granting of property rights, levying environmental taxes, paying for environmental use, issuing marketable permits, voluntary agreements, education. There are 8 command and control. There are 8 subtopics on this one. Then your essay number 5 will be discussed in detail the effects of inflation or consequences of inflation. This one is your debtors and creditors, savers and investors, taxpayers, psychological influence. So those are some of the subheadings. And then essay number 6 will be discussed in detail the effects of tourism. So the way I have structured them will say at least if it becomes the going gets tougher, at least the first 4 essays that I've mentioned or the 3 first essays, you must be able to master those, meaning one of them may come, right? Remember, all 6 are possible essays for your question number 6, so you can prepare for question number 6 and master that one before you even get to your exam. So meaning you'll be carrying your 30 marks to your exam. You can do this grade 12. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to read through our subject content, meaning we're going to focus on both micro and your economic issues for paper 2. You're going to use your textbooks, you're going to use your study guides, and then most importantly, you're going to use your examination guideline. That examination guideline, it becomes your Bible in economics, because whatever that is there, it can be assessed on your exam. Right, when you are getting those questions that seem to be a more difficult, your higher order question, I always say to you, always find key pointers, structure your answers, and then in economics, you must always respond in full sentences. That's where we're going to get marked. We are looking for certain key answers from the entire sentence, but then if you're only going to say increase employment, the answer can be to increase employment. However, you must put it in details to say when there is production, then it means more people will be needed, therefore that will increase employment in a country. So you see the answer there was increase in employment, but we want it in a full sentence so that you can score the full 2 marks. Alright, grade 12, we're going to move straight to our section A. So on your paper, each paper 2, we know we can score our easy marks on 1.1 and 1.2. Somehow we find 1.3 difficult. Also, it is a lower order question, but then 1.1 and 1.2, that is around 24 marks that you can score. You go to your section B, 2.1.1. That is listing 3.1.1, 4.1.1. So if you are answering 2 section B questions, you already have 4 marks given to you. You go to your data. The first 3 questions, the one is naming, listing, describing. That is 4 marks. So for each question, you have 2 data response. 4, that is 8, plus that 2, you get 10 marks given to you, no thinking. And then you have the 2.4 or 3.4, 4.4, 8 marks. It's remembering information. They will say to you, differentiate, discuss, something that we have learned in the classroom. So I always say that 4 plus 2 mark, that is plus the other 4, that is 10 plus 8 is 18 marks for each section B question. So it's 18 and 18. That gives you 36 of free marks, plus the 24 that you get from section A. And then you have the 30 marks that you carry to the exam, which is your essay. If you count all those marks, already you have reached 50% of the paper without you answering those questions that are middle or higher order. Only answering the lower order question, you can score a lot of marks. Right? But you need planning. For you to plan, you must get used to answering those question papers. If you have previous question papers, then you can plan when you get to the exam. You can even know if the question is not asked correctly. Right, let's look at section A here. We have 1.1.1 to 1.1.8. You're going to read and then you match it with the correct answer. Remember, you usually have 2 incorrect and 2 that are looking correct, but there is one that is most correct. So grade 12s, I'll give you about 10 minutes to answer 1.1.1 to 1.1.8. Then we look at your answers. Right, grade 12s, we are done writing. Let's look at our possible answers. Right, so we did 1.1 to 1.8. Right, so for 1.1, the question was, in any market, the average revenue is the same as what? So your average revenue in any market. So we're speaking of the perfect market, we're speaking of the imperfect markets. So in a perfect market, AR is always equals to the price. Also here, the D is equals to AR, this representing the price as well. So in any market, the average revenue is equals to prices in any market. So in any market, the average revenue is always equals to a price. Remember, in imperfect market, your MR, it lies below. In a perfect market, MR is equals to AR. So you can't say in any market AR is equals to MR. It's only in a perfect market. But in all the markets, AR is equals to price. So your answer will be A, which is price. Monopoly is also known as what? So monopoly is also known as an industry. So monopoly, it represents the whole market and is also known as an industry. Social costs consist of sum of private and what? Right. So for you to get social cost, you take private cost, you take private plus external cost, then you get the social cost. Same goes to social benefit. You take private benefit plus external benefit, then you get a social benefit. Remember, externalities are what? Are benefits or costs that are affecting a third party who is not involved in the transaction at the first place. Right. Number 4, product differentiation play an important role in non-price competition. Product differentiation. So advertising and product differentiation will play an important role in a non-price competition. Who's using the non-price competition? It is the monopolistic and oligopoly. They can use a non-price competition, meaning they are not competing based on price. So if you don't want to compete based on price, differentiation of product, we can differentiate the product. We can't use price for non-price. We can't use quantity. We can't use government policies for us to use non-price competition, but we can use product differentiation and your advertising. Number 5, a situation where prices rise repeatedly that people lose confidence in the value of money can be regarded as what? Inflation is just an increase in prices over time. Stagflation, it means this inflation and unemployment and low growth at the same time. Headline inflation is your CPI, the unadjusted CPI. However, the hyperinflation, it means that inflation is increasing 50% or more each month. Right, so inflation is increasing so much that people are losing confidence on that economy. That is your hyperinflation. An American who travels to South Africa to visit Robben Island is an example of what? Right, so that is an inbound tourist, a person coming in. That is an inbound tourist. Number 7, the major international agreement dealt with reducing pollution by greenhouse gases. That is your Kyoto Protocol. Remember, we discussed the Kyoto Protocol when we were talking about climate change, that they need to reduce the greenhouse gases that we have. Right. The last one. Let's move to, before we move to question to grade 12. So we're going to go to 1.8. So we're going to just move back to 1.8 and look at the question that we had there. So 1.8 was the main monetary instrument used by the Reserve Bank to combat inflation is. So monetary instrument, we're looking at your interest rate, open market transaction, cash reserve requirement, moral suasion, money supplier. So we have many of them. But then what is the main one that they use when they want to combat inflation? That is interest rate. They use interest rate because that one is more easier to use. After every quarter, the Reserve Bank governor comes in and announces the repo rate. So the main instrument that they use is interest rate. Right, grade 12, you are going to move to section B now. Question. Right, section B, we have question 2. 2.2.1. Remember, on question 2, it's only your microeconomics. On question 3, you find your computer economic issues, and then question 4 is a mixture of economic issues and your microeconomics. 2.1.1. Name any 2 examples of explicit cost. When we're speaking of explicit cost, we speak about the actual cost that a business is spending on. So if you are producing something, your actual expenses, for example, things that you need, the raw material, whatever that you're paying for the business. So we have 2 types of cost in economics. We have the explicit and the implicit cost. So this one are also known as opportunity cost, the things that you've forgone for you to do that business, right? So explicit cost is the actual cost of your business, right? You can name any 2 of those actual costs that we have in a business, right? What we have here: wages paid to employees, rent for business premises, raw material for production, advertising expenses. Anything that is an actual expense, then you can include it under explicit cost. Remember, actual expense, you do not include your depreciation, those costs that cannot be counted on the cash budget, right? So you include costs that can be an actual cost. Right, let's move to your data response question. So you have 2.2.1 to 2.2.3. Remember, we said we have these 3 questions on all the data response questions that are easy marks, same as 2.1.1. So today we're going to be focusing on the easy marks that you can score on each paper. Right, you'll be given 5 minutes to answer 2.2.1 to 2.2.3. Right, grade 12, our time is up. Let's see what you have there. 2.2.1, identify the price determined by supplier and demand. So you come here, you look at the price that is determined by the market force. Number 2, name the type of profit of a perfect market in the graph. What kind of profit are they making here? What do you look at? AR is equals to AC. When AR is equals to AC, it means when you do your calculation, your answer will be 0. What type of profit is this? Briefly describe the term profit maximization. What do we mean by profit maximization? Remember, our profit maximization is here where MC meet MR. What does that mean? Right, let's look at our solutions. Identify the price determined by the supplier and demand. The price is this 80 rand. Is your market price. Name the type of profit that we have there. Since your answer will be 0, the answer is normal profit. When the answer is, if the AC was here below, your answer was going to be a positive answer. Then it means that average costs are less than the average revenue, it's profit. But if the AC was on top here, you're going to get a negative answer, and then that will give you a loss because AC costs are more than the revenue. The last question, briefly describe the term profit maximization. Remember, profit maximization, we find it where MR is equals to MC. That is a profit maximization point. Profit maximization is the process of increasing difference between total revenue and total cost to achieve the highest possible profit. So for you to achieve the highest possible profit, you need to produce at a profit maximization point. Right, grade 12, we're going to go back a bit. Right, let's go back to the graph a bit and then we look at the profit maximization here. So this point we say it is a profit maximization. If we produce at quantity 100, we get more profit as compared if we had to reduce the production to 90 here. You see that the cost will be higher, slightly higher than the revenue. And even if we increase it this side, the cost will be higher than the revenue. So it is wise for us to produce here. So we need to look at our total cost and total revenue and try to produce where we can make more profit. Right. This can also be shown on your TR and TC graph. Right, so when you do your TR and TC graph, you have price, you have quantity, right? This will be your total cost, then you'll have your total revenue, right? Here is your break-even point where TR is equals to TC, and then the profit maximization, it will be the widest distance between the cost and the revenue. All the space from here represent economic profit. However, where is the profit maximization? We look at the difference between total revenue and total cost. So the difference, the widest difference, the highest possible profit is here. This distance is the highest possible profit. Here we are making profit, but it's not the highest. Here we are making profit, but it's not the highest. And then the distance here is a loss. The distance here is a loss. Right. So let's move to the next data respond question. 2.3. So we have another 3 questions there. Your easy question to score 2.3.1 to 2.3.3. Right, grade 12, you are given 5 minutes to respond to these questions. Then we look at your marking guideline. Okay, grade 12, we are done writing. Let's look at the question. 2.3.1, identify the economic participant responsible for setting the minimum wage. Remember, we have in a closed economy, there's household, government, and businesses. Name one example of a product which minimum price can be set on. Briefly describe the term minimum price. Let's look at our marking guideline. Identify the economic participant responsible. That is your government. It was there on your data. Name one example of a product which minimum price apply. You have maize meal, bread, rice, anything that is correct. You may raise your hand and then the teacher will be assisting you if it's correct, right? Your minimum price is a price set above the equilibrium point. This minimum price is set to do what? The minimum price is set to assist producers so that there is fair competition and then they are able to produce and then they don't stay out of market, right? So maize meal, for example, can be set a minimum price so that those producers who are dealing with production of maize meal, bread and rice, they don't go out of market. Looking at our climate conditions, that is not the same. You may be located in, for example, Limpopo where there's rain, and then the other person is located in Cape Town where the rain is not there. So the cost of production for a person in Cape Town, it will be expensive. So for them to grow these crops to make maize meal, it will be expensive for them as compared to a person in Limpopo. So the government is going to try to protect this person in Cape Town so that there is a fair competition, because the person in Limpopo, the prices are going to be low because their input is less. They don't have to buy big water tanks for them to grow their crops. But then people in the other province, they have to do that. So you see the cost of production is not the same. The one with less cost of production is going to charge less price than the other one with higher cost of production. Then the government comes in and support those businesses. Briefly describe the term minimum price. A minimum price is a legally established lowest price that can be regarded for goods or services. intend to prevent prices from falling too low and protect producers' income and ensure fair wages. So when they charge the minimum price above equilibrium point, they are trying to protect producers. Maximum price, they are protecting us consumers. Minimum price is the lowest. I know when you look at it, this is the price and then this is the minimum price. It looks like it's the highest. However, this we call it a price floor. This is a price floor. You can't charge anything below this. You must start here and go up. It's a price floor. Look at the floor. The floor starts from the ground and it goes up. So minimum price is the price floor. It's the lowest price you can charge. You take it from the floor and you can go up. You can't go lower than the floor. And then maximum price is here. This is the highest price you can charge. Highest is a ceiling, meaning you can't go above this. It's a ceiling. You can go anywhere down, but you can't go above that. So you need to understand the difference between the minimum price and the maximum price. Right, let's move to your 2.4 question. Explain the short-run economic profit situation of a monopoly using a labeled graph. Right, so you are going to draw a graph of a monopoly where we are making economic profit, meaning AC must be below AR. Then you explain that. You are going to be given 5 minutes again to draw your economic profit graph of monopoly, and then you are explaining that. Right, grade 12. Let's look at the marking guideline. Right, so this is the graph that you're supposed to draw. You must put in your AR. First, you put in your axis, quantity, price, and then your price, you can put your cost and revenue. So you put price, cost, revenue, then quantity. After that, you put your AR curve, and then you have your MR curve as well that lies below. Then you put your cost curve. Your AC must get inside of your AR. Then it would indicate that you will be making profit. Then you have MC. So for both AR and MR, you get 1 mark. For MC and AC, there is 1 mark. Remember, for this question where you are explaining using a graph is 4 mark and the explanation is 4 mark. Then you're going to look at your profit maximization point where MC meet MR is here A. So if you have written E there, it is correct. You have E, and then your other mark is for the shaded area that indicates that there is economic profit. Then you get your 4 mark. Monopoly will make economic profit where AC is below AR. This is what you are explaining. The AC is below the AR. A monopolist also tries to maximize profit in a short term and a long term. Remember, a monopoly, it gains economic profit both in a long run and a short run. The shaded area represent economic profit. This shaded area represent economic profit. That's how you score your marks. Right, let's move to question 3. Question 3, you have your contemporary economic issues. 3.1.1, name 2 fiscal measures to prevent or combat inflation. Right, the fiscal measures are the one used by your Minister of Finance. You can name them. We have government expenditure and taxation, but then that is not answering the question. How to answer the question? You say decrease government expenditure. You don't just say government expenditure. It will be incorrect. Remember, name any 2 fiscal measures to prevent inflation. So when you say government expenditure, we don't know if you are increasing or decreasing. So you should say decrease government expenditure and increase taxation. When we decrease government expenditure, the money in circulation will decrease as well. So that can combat inflation. When we increase taxation, our disposable income decreases. Therefore, a demand pull inflation can be combated. As we move to a data response question, you're going to study the data and then you answer the question that follows. You have 3.2.1 to 3.2.3. You are given 5 minutes to respond to these questions. Then we look at the marking guideline. Right, grade 12. We are done reading and writing. You read the data there and then you wrote answers for 3.2.1 to 3.2.3. Identify one factor from the text above which influence the setting of prices. So when you read here, you'll get what influenced the setting of prices. I'm just kind of reading quickly there. I see your global oil price can be the reason why the fuel price can increase. And then name one cause of cost push inflation. Now you go to the reason that there is a cost push inflation. You list them. Briefly describe the term administered prices. Right. You have global oil price and you also have dollar to rand exchange that can influence the price of our petrol. Remember, you need the oil for us to have the fuel, and then also we buy it from abroad. So if our rand has depreciated, it's going to be expensive to buy the oil from the crude oil from abroad, then making our petrol price expensive. Name one cause of cost push. You have wages, productivity, key inputs, natural disasters, and any other relevant one for your cost push inflation. We have a few of them in our books. Briefly describe the term administered prices. So these administered prices, inflation, we're talking about what? Are prices set by the government, or you can say it's inflation caused by what? Government prices, right? So administered prices inflation is the inflation that is caused by what? Prices that are set by the government. Can be price for water, price for electricity. Those prices are set by the government, or municipality rates. We say there are administered prices. Right, we move to 3.3. We look at the cartoon, then we answer the 3 questions. Standard time, we are given 4 minutes to respond, 5 minutes to respond. Then we look at our marking guideline. Right, grade 12, thank you. Let's look at the question that we have there. Name one effect of tourism that is not reflected in the above picture. So our effects of tourism, you have a few of them. There's GDP, employment, there is you have externalities, you have infrastructure, you have investment, those are effects of tourism. So let's look at our you have GDP already, meaning whatever that you mention, you are not going to mention GDP. Right, we only have GDP, so you are going to mention any beside. You have mentioned all beside GDP. List one benefit of tourism. Briefly describe the term tourism. So you have effects: employment, poverty, externality, environment, can be investment. So anything that you have mentioned. List one benefit of tourism for household. It creates employment, skills development, and there is improved infrastructure that benefits the household. Briefly describe the term tourism. Tourism is activities of people traveling to and staying in places outside their usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for leisure, business, and other purposes. However you have described tourism, you'll be correct as long as you mentioning that there's a movement of people to an unusual environment. Right, let's move to our summary of the day. So today we focused on the easy mark to score. We looked at the multiple choice, and remember again, grade 12, for your multiple choice, there's always 2A, 2B, 2C, and 2D. Right, so this only applies to a person who's sure about their answers. Matching of the columns, always start with column B, go to column A. This saves you time. And then terminology, do not leave spaces. Try to respond to those questions, because this one, it allows for any other relevant ones if the terminology can be explained in different ways. Then your question section B, question 2 to 4, wherever that you are answering, you always get 18 marks. That is almost given to you. That includes your 2.1.1, 2.2, the first 3 questions, 2.3, the first 3 questions, and your 2.4. This apply to what? Also question 3 or question 4. I'm just using question 2 as an example. It can be 3.1.1. It depends on which question you are answering. And then for your section C, please come ready with your essay for your 30 marks. The only thing that you're going to get there is the additional part. But the 30 marks, you must be ready to get that one before you even start writing. Right? Thank you so much, grade 12, for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Keep well.